The movie begins with 12-year-old Dre Parker living a quiet but fragile life in Detroit, raised by his hardworking mother after losing his father at a young age. When his mother suddenly gets transferred to Beijing for work, Dre's entire world is ripped away from him. He doesn't want to leave his home, his culture, or the few comforts he still has, but he has no choice. With grief already weighing on his heart, Dre boards a plane to China, unaware that this move will throw him into loneliness, fear, and a battle that will force him to grow up faster than he ever imagined. Arriving in Beijing feels like landing on another planet. Dre doesn't understand the language, the customs, or the people, and even his apartment building feels cold and unwelcoming. While settling in, he briefly meets Mr. Han, a quiet maintenance man who barely speaks and seems emotionally distant. At first, Dre thinks nothing of him. Mr. Han is just another stranger in a country full of them. Feeling isolated, Dre wanders into a nearby park, hoping to find something familiar, something that makes him feel less alone. At the park, Dre meets Mei Ying, a gifted violinist whose calm presence immediately draws him in. She speaks English, which instantly comforts him, and for the first time since arriving in China, Dre feels seen. Trying to fit in, he joins a group of local kids playing basketball, but his lack of skill quickly makes him the target of ridicule. Still, Dre pushes forward, encouraged by Mei Ying's presence, unaware that his attempt to stand out has already attracted the attention of someone dangerous. That danger arrives in the form of Chung, a skilled kung fu student with a cold demeanor and a violent temper. When Chung sees Dre talking to Mei Ying, jealousy and control take over. Dre tries to stand up for himself, but Chung brutally beats him in front of everyone, humiliating and injuring him without mercy. Even when Dre is clearly helpless, Chung continues, teaching him a cruel lesson about power and fear. Broken and ashamed, Dre limps home, hiding his injuries from his mother and pretending everything is fine. The next day at school, Dre's bruises can't stay hidden for long. Teachers notice, classmates whisper, and Chung continues to torment him, knocking his lunch to the ground and reminding him that there's no escape. At home, Dre tries to teach himself martial arts by copying moves from the television, driven by desperation rather than discipline. It's during this moment that Mr. Han arrives to fix their bathroom, silently observing Dre's frustration, his anger, and his growing sense of hopelessness. As days pass, the bullying only gets worse. Dre learns that Chung and his friends all train at a powerful kung fu school, making them untouchable in the eyes of others. One night, overwhelmed by fear and anger, Dre follows Chung and dumps dirty water on him in a weak attempt at revenge. It backfires instantly. Chung and his friends chase Dre down, corner him, and beat him viciously. Just when it seems like Dre will be seriously hurt, Mr. Han appears out of nowhere. Without throwing a single punch, Mr. Han effortlessly disables Chung and his friends, using calm movement and precision to turn their aggression against each other. Dre watches in disbelief as the old man he thought was weak proves himself to be a master. Afterward, Mr. Han takes Dre home and heals his injuries using traditional fire cupping, easing his pain in a way that feels almost magical. For the first time, Dre realizes that this quiet man carries a deep, hidden power. Inspired and desperate, Dre begs Mr. Han to teach him kung fu so he can get revenge. But Mr. Han refuses, explaining that kung fu is not about fighting or hatred, but about balance, control, and inner peace. Instead of blaming Chung, Mr. Han places responsibility on Chung's teacher, a cruel man who teaches his students to show no mercy. Determined to end the bullying properly, Mr. Han confronts the teacher and makes a bold promise. Dre will fight Chung in the upcoming tournament. At first, Dre panics. The tournament is public, brutal, and filled with skilled fighters who have trained for years. But Mr. Han assures him that what Chung learns is cruelty, not real kung fu. He promises to train Dre in the true meaning of strength. The next morning, Dre shows up early, eager to begin training. Instead of flashy moves, Mr. Han gives him a simple, confusing task, taking his jacket on and off and hanging it up again and again. Days pass, and Dre grows frustrated. He doesn't understand how such a meaningless task will help him survive a tournament. Rain pours, his arms ache, and his patience wears thin, but Mr. Han remains silent and firm. At home, Dre begins changing without realizing it, showing respect to his mother and keeping his emotions under control. What Dre doesn't know is that every movement is building muscle memory, discipline, and focus. When Dre finally explodes in anger and demands real training, Mr. Han reveals the truth. Using the jacket motions, Dre instinctively blocks every attack Mr. Han throws at him. In that moment, Dre realizes kung fu isn't about punches. It's about repetition, awareness, and intention. Mr. Han explains that kung fu exists in everything: how you move, how you live, and how you treat others. The lesson changes Dre forever. Mr. Han takes Dre on a journey to the mountains, teaching him about balance, inner energy, and calmness of mind. At an ancient well, he explains that true strength comes from stillness, not aggression. Dre witnesses a woman controlling a cobra without touching it, learning that control begins within. For the first time, Dre stops fighting the world and starts understanding himself. Training intensifies, but Mr. Han knows when to stop. He teaches Dre that rest is just as important as effort. On a rare day off, Dre spends time with Mei Ying, helping her relax before her important music audition. They share laughter, freedom, and a moment of peace that feels like escape from all their pressures. Dre promises to support her dream if she supports his tournament, and their bond deepens. But reality crashes back in when Mei Ying's audition doesn't go well. Her father blames Dre Dre, believing he is a distraction from her future. Forced apart, Mei Ying tearfully tells Dre they can't see each other anymore. Heartbroken, Dre runs to Mr. Han for comfort, only to discover the old man smashing his own car in grief, surrounded by empty bottles. Mr. Han finally reveals his deepest pain. Years ago, he lost his wife and son in a car accident, one he caused during an argument he can't even remember. Every year, he fixes the car, hoping the memory will return, and every year he destroys it again in guilt. Dre listens as Mr. Han breaks down, realizing that his teacher's calm hides unbearable sorrow. Despite his pain, Mr. Han resumes training Dre, proving that strength doesn't mean the absence of pain, but the courage to move forward with it. Dre's mother witnesses his dedication and finally understands how much Kung Fu has helped her son. Dre becomes stronger, faster, and more confident, not just physically, but mentally. As the tournament arrives, Mr. Han tells Dre not to focus on winning, but on honor and respect. Dre earns his uniform, symbolizing not just training, but transformation. Before the tournament, Dre bravely confronts Mei Ying's father with a heartfelt letter, asking for one more chance to be a good friend. Moved by Dre's sincerity, her father agrees to attend the tournament. At the tournament, fear nearly overwhelms Dre. Surrounded by skilled fighters and roaring crowds, he hesitates in his first match. But remembering Mr. Han's lessons, he steps back onto the mat and wins decisively. With each victory, Dre proves he belongs there. Chung, meanwhile, advances brutally, fueled by his master's cruelty. In the semifinals, Dre faces one of Chung's teammates, who viciously targets his injured leg on his master's orders. The attack is so brutal that the fighter is disqualified, but Dre is left in agony. Doctors warn that continuing could cause permanent damage. As officials prepare to award Chung the trophy, Dre faces a choice. Here's a question for you. If you were injured, afraid, and everyone told you to quit, would you walk away, or would you stand up one last time and fight for everything you've worked for? Let me know what you'd do in the comments. Dre chooses to stand. He reminds Mr. Han of the lesson he taught him. Life knocks us down, but standing back up is always our choice. Reluctantly, Mr. Han heals him just enough to continue. Limping and barely able to stand, Dre walks back onto the mat as the crowd erupts in disbelief. The final fight begins, and despite his injury, Dre fights with heart and discipline. Chung knocks him down again and again, but Dre refuses to stay down. Each movement is deliberate, each breath controlled. The score tightens, and everything comes down to one final point. In a moment of calm, Dre raises himself into the Cobra stance, channeling everything Mr. Han taught him. His stillness hypnotizes Chung, who unknowingly mirrors his movements. When Chung attacks, Dre counters with perfect timing, launching into a spinning kick that lands cleanly and decisively. The arena explodes as Dre wins. Against all odds, the bullied kid from Detroit stands victorious. But the true victory comes next when Chung bows and hands Dre the trophy himself, showing respect for the first time. Even Master Lee is forced to bow to Mr. Han, acknowledging true Kung Fu. Dre and Mr. Han share a silent smile, knowing this journey was never just about fighting. It was about healing, discipline, and finding strength and compassion. Mei Ying watches proudly, her faith rewarded, and Dre's mother sees her son transformed into someone brave, balanced, and honorable. The boy who arrived in China broken and afraid now stands confident and calm. This story reminds us that mentors don't just teach skills. They heal wounds we don't know how to face alone. Sometimes the hardest battles aren't fought with fists, but with forgiveness, patience, and courage. In the end, Kung Fu becomes more than a martial art. It becomes a way of life guiding Dre through fear, heartbreak, and triumph. And that lesson stays long after the final match ends. If this journey inspired you, reminded you of your own struggles, or made you believe in standing back up, no matter how many times life knocks you down, then this story did its job. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to great animation recaps, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful movie story, share your thoughts in the comments, and keep watching, because the next story might change the way you see your own life.